Welcome back to the 716 Sports Podcast, recording here live the week of June 17th. And if you've been in a coma for the last 18 months, I have a really exciting sentence for you. Ryan O'Reilly just won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Unfortunately, for those of us who have been in this plane of existence the whole time, he did it for St. Louis. At least it wasn't Boston, so I still feel pretty good about that. They win. Toronto wins. It felt like the sports gods were slightly on the side of Western New York for a day or two before we go back to the soul-crushing reality that none of our own teams have achieved that level of success since I was able to walk.
Perspective.
Puts it in perspective. So we're going to take a lot of time here tonight looking over the Sabres roster, what we think they can do to build it. Now we've got Jeff Skinner re-signed. He's on the books for the indefinite future. Now what do they do to continue building the team? Because the team last year that had Jeff Skinner on it still wasn't quite able to get enough offense to be competitive with other teams. We'll talk about that. Maybe dabble in some other stuff. We're going to talk to FC Buffalo goaltender Bryce Tremuta, who just posted his third consecutive clean sheet on Friday night as FC Buffalo continues to roll along, now 3-1 on the season, get his perspective on their hot start. Justin has everything pulled up here. We have the cat-friendly tools, the armchair GM, as it's maybe rightly called, ready to look at what this team can do to get into that playoff spot next year.
We're going to have a little fun.
Fun with numbers.
Yeah, we're gonna do an armchair GM all together and decide on next year's Sabres roster.
Tell you what, sifting through the UFAs, there's a lot.
There's a lot of them in number. I'm not sure there's a lot of them that I'm particularly...
No, maybe not someone that you're interested in, but it feels like 1 out of every 5 will probably be signed, or could or should be.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of them will be somewhere. Mm-hmm. Just not necessarily hoping that all of them are going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like...
Where's the button that we trade Risto to Tampa Bay for a top 5 forward?
We'll get there.
Let's shut your mouth over there on the other end of this couch.
I think by the end of this, we're going to trade Risto and CJ Smith.
You're just trying to piss me off now. You can
Justin's going
to
go 1-on-4 and trade CJ Smith. He's a man as an island.
All right, so it looks like first we should probably sign UFAs here. Or RFAs, yeah.
So there's 5 of us, which is good. It's good that Bill's back tonight because now we actually have an odd number of people and we can not have tie votes for anything.
Oh, man, I'm here.
What's up, Bill?
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Hey, Jeff, just take a look at it. That's what I did, and I'm not going to even say it. I feel like there are 3 scoring lines there. And a 4th line that may not suck, but...
Where? Here?
No, I'm showing you what I did.
Steve did homework.
Yeah.
Show your work.
Oh, you prepared, Steve?
Yeah.
You weirdo.
He's the good student.
If you thought that I wasn't going to do this... You were wrong.
All right, so let's start with RFAs.
Yeah.
We got a good amount because it's a big part of this team right now.
Can I also say something here?
Go ahead.
Bogosian is probably starting the year on IR.
Yep.
So can we do that?
We'll take care of that.
Because I did that in building the team.
That, yeah.
Because November, right? They said.
Oh yeah,
probably a couple months.
Hip surgery.
He'll be out until fucking January.
Wow.
I mean, it's how he is. He's misses months at a time. It's unfortunate because I think if he'd actually be healthy, he'd be halfway decent. But.
Anyway,
all right.
Sorry.
So we have a bunch of we have Eric Cornell, Jack Doherty, Remy Ellie, Zygmunt Girgensons, Johan Larson, Sean Malone, Bryson Martin, Jake McCabe, Evan Rodriguez, CJ Smith, and Linus Ullmark.
I think there are 2 on this list that are absolute slam dunks, and that is Evan Rodriguez and Linus Ullmark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any debate to be had about whether or not you want to qualify those players, sign them back to your team.
So what's our Ullmark? $750K last year. What should we sign him in? What kind of raise are you going to get? 1.5, 2? He'd be starting goalie.
I put him in at 1.5.
Yeah, it's got to be a bridge kind of deal for him, I think.
I had a 2-year deal at $1.5 million for Linus because 2 years, I believe, allows him to be an RFA when he's up again. Does that sound right?
I believe so.
And then that is right according to Cap Friendly. And
2 years?
With Carter making 2.75, how much are you going to pay Linus?
And Linus Ullmark, although I'm happy to have him, he still hasn't really proven that he's the number 1 to me at this point. In 2 years gives you a chance to do that, or maybe you start looking towards Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen by that point. Start learning how to pronounce and spell Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen by then.
UPL, done.
Let's go to CJ Smith. Let's go to CJ Smith, who's probably going to sign a qualifying offer. I don't know how much those even cost.
Like 625, is it?
We made $874 last year.
Okay. Well,
so let's call it 1.2 maybe.
You think he's going to sign? I don't know if he's signing for that much.
I mean, we have his rights.
I call it an even 1, I think.
1?
I don't know what the numbers work exactly for.
Yeah, let's go 1.2.
Well, to qualify them, you don't even need to necessarily pay them. Like to tender an offer, it doesn't have to be what they end up getting paid.
Look this up real quick.
Yeah, because you can qualify them for like league minimum, I think.
I'm just gonna sign at 1.2.
I think Justin likes that number.
Maybe.
Someone looking it up.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we'll carry on to the next person.
Erod's a slam dunk, I think.
Where'd you go? All right, let's
Scroll.
go.
Yeah.
Let's do Erod next. He's made $650,000 last year. What kind of raise are you going to get?
I'm kind of tempted to try to give Erod a little more money and a little longer of a 10-year to try to lock him in for maybe 4 years.
4 years, huh?
So
Why not?
let's all debate this. Erod, it's probably going to be 3 years.
If they sorry, go ahead, Bill.
Why? It seems to me like he's 3 and 5, right? Maybe
Yeah,
I'm off.
3
$3 million a
years.
year, 5 years
3 years, $5 million.
Total.
total.
Yeah.
So 1.67.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About
I was thinking 1.75, so we're thinking
right
the
in
same
that
ballpark.
neighborhood. Then I mean, I don't think he's gonna. He's not. He doesn't seem like a $2 million player, but he also seems well above a 1. I don't know. Seems fair. We give him an extra year. He's only 25, so he has a chance if he's breaking through and getting into the top 6 or whatever. Then you let him walk or let him get paid whatever he needs to on that next deal. But for now, it's not quite that. I mean, I've never seen excitement about a guy that's had 29 points before. Like it almost seems overblown to me at this point. And Jeff, you were saying Allmark and Rodriguez are the slam dunks. I think Jake McCabe is a bigger slam dunk to me than re-signing Evan Rodriguez if I had to prioritize this list.
Yeah, Jim McCabe signing first. That's top priority probably for Botterill. That's a top defenseman. One of the team.
I don't think they have to pay him a lot because he didn't play a lot this past season.
We're talking about Rodriguez here, so we're going 1.675.
Yeah.
Sounds
let's do
good.
that.
All right. Signed. All right, let's go to McCabe. McCabe's probably gonna make some pretty good money, decent
You
money.
think so?
Yeah, he's a top 6 guy.
But
Probably-
it's if you look at the track record, what has he done?
I mean, what has any Sabres defenseman done here?
Well, yeah,
last?
but even still, like he missed how much time last year? How many games did he play last year?
59.
59. Did you pull that out of your butt, or is it up
right
there?
here.
It's on the screen.
Right
Well,
there.
that would be Bill. You're astute, and I
Thanks.
can't believe you were able to pull that number out right
Thank
from
you.
that screen in front of us.
Still jet lagged.
59 games
Yeah.
split.
What size is it? What size screen is that?
Not big enough, apparently. Whatever.
Yeah, not big enough for
Not
Steve.
for Steve. Whatever.
59 games played, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. Non-offensive defenseman. We're signing for his
I'd say
defensive
that's-
talent.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not his role to be an offensive defenseman.
So how much bank are they going to drop on that?
He's
guy?
got to get at least $1 million raise, in my opinion.
I mean, I think I think
2.75.
2.75 to 3 mil is a reasonable number to expect him to sign for.
We'll call it 2.75 AAV. You all agree on that?
Yep. How many years? Probably 3
I
or
think
4.
3's good, yeah.
3,
Yeah.
I think, of that number.
3 takes in the UFA. I bet his agent fights for 2. Get him a UFA 27.
I think that's fair. Again, guys, they don't want to stay forever. If they can get out of their contracts at 27, 28, that puts them in good shape to get their biggest one.
Yes.
If they perform.
All right, guys, we want to have our favorite debate that we have on this podcast all the time. Who wants to re-sign Johan Larsson?
I say we don't re-sign either of these guys. I mean,
I'm with you. Bye-bye.
let's be realistic.
Replaceable.
They probably sign one of them. I don't
think-
think they take both of
I
them
think
back.
that's right.
I think they're re-signing Gergensons.
You think so?
Because it's their guy.
Yeah.
Because not that it's a
Whose guy?
Bottrell's guy, but it's a Sabres guy.
He's a Sabres guy. He's the Latvian lightning bolt.
The Latvian locomotive.
I think Larson's more effective than Gergensen.
Of course you do. Who
I
the
do.
fuck is surprised you just said that?
Yeah, dude, but look at the points. In one last game, 4 more points for Zemgus Gergensons. Let's get real analytical here. 4 point difference. That's like
Johan Larsson is a much better defensive center.
Then he gets the puck in the defensive end and turns it over promptly to the blade of an opposing forechecker.
All right.
stick.
Honestly, I think they re-sign Gergensons. I think they give him 2 and 3, or I know he was at 1.6, so 2 and 3.2. I mean, I really think
There's no way he's getting a raise.
I don't think he's getting a raise. I think. I mean, maybe for
raises throughout their tenure, he'll probably get a little bit of a raise.
1.75.
Not gonna be a million.
He's going to get offer sheeted. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the Oilers are coming in.
So let's vote here. I want to say Larson.
It's okay. I'm doing this by who I think is going to be re-signed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's Gergen.
I think it's gonna be Larson. I'm not doing. I like.
That's fine.
I think
No,
it's gonna be Jeff. You think Gergensen?
No, I think it's Larson too.
2-2 because I say Girgensons.
I say Larson.
Oh,
Wow. Bill, want to go get a beer somewhere?
shout out
Go
to
get some wings and
Shrelix or whatever the hell the name of their company is.
So I'm good with
Still haven't figured
two
that
years,
out.
1.6 mil for Larson. That's a raise for him, comparable.
That's thank God you're staying. You're lucky.
2 years is a good deal. And
We do need the center depth. I think they have to sign at least one of those guys unless they do something else. I don't think they're planning on having Erod play
So why are these
center.
guys are staying on his RFA list and not coming off of it? Interesting.
on my phone, I think they went away.
Well, at least they dragged to the active roster. So
I'm not
we're
worried
okay.
about Ellie. They're probably not going to. They're probably.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not worried
they
about
don't.
Ellie. Ellie's probably going to be an AHL player. So is Cornell and Doherty, Martin.
It's just crazy to think because like Ellie played 79 games in Dallas 2 years ago.
Who?
Remy Ellie
Ellie.
played almost every game in Dallas 2 years ago as an NHLer.
All right, TJ Smith. He's gonna stay. Call it $975,000.
Sure.
2 years. I think that's fair. All right, RFA's done.
Thank God.
Boom, boom, boom. Do you want to trade or do you want to sign UFAs?
Well, what do we think happens with Ristolainen?
I don't think he goes anywhere, but that might just be my biased, hopeful thinking.
Do you think the Trouba deal affects at all what Ristolainen could
Not in the
command?
direction you want it to.
No, it was
Trouba got nothing.
so
Pionk.
and the
Their own
original
pick.
pick that they gave up
Winnipeg's
for Kevin
original
Hayes.
first, yeah.
That
Winnipeg now without Kevin Hayes get their own
Seems
first round pick back.
like the Rangers kind of fleeces the
Yeah.
Jets there, doesn't it?
It's ridiculous. I can't believe there wasn't like
It's like
a
this
better roster player.
Sabres with Molson. They
Yeah.
get a first for him and then sign him back.
So let's operate under the world that Rasmus Ristolainen is going to stay on this team. If we're all okay with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
My first and only UFA signing.
I don't know who else would really be somebody that they could trade realistically and get anything of note back.
Well, 31.
So Trouba is
I hope they're
Trouba,
trading 31.
is Trouba signed right now, or is he a term left, or is he a free agent at the moment?
He has term left.
Okay.
He's
can
got
look
at
it up.
least 1 year left. I'll look it up.
It's not like the Kevin Hayes trade where they just traded for his rights, if that's what you're asking.
So my thing is Rasmus is on a great deal for value in terms of value. That probably gets you more. Trouba, I think, is a 1 year left in term.
So he's got 1 year at 5.5. Oh, no,
Okay.
actually, sorry. He's an RFA. So
Okay,
you
so-
retain. He had a 5.5, and then you retain him. So I'm going to assume that
He's
no
only
offer sheets are going to be
25.
offered because
So he's a
it's-
free agent right now. He's a
He's
restricted
a
free.
restricted free agent.
So that deal, you're probably pull a big deal from him because he's not signed. So that's probably why you need a lot of value. You're trading for an unsigned player that may
That you
not.
have to sign, yeah.
So let's start. I think that affects the trade very much. So Risto has 3 years left,
5.5?
5.4,
Yep.
and that's a deal for 24-year-old.
So he's the highest paid defenseman on the team and is the... Now, hold on one sec. Did you put... did we re-sign C.J. Smith for $9.75 million?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Can we correct that?
Pay that, man.
Or did he sign it already?
Is that too much? You think?
I'm a little worried that may send
Wow, Justin really swinging around on
Send
CJ
the
Smith
Yeah, he changed his mind real quick.
real quick.
the team off in a different direction. It's not you, buddy.
Now we have to trade Risto because we don't have any money left.
Yes.
So just real quick, I want to... Uh-oh.
Maybe we can't fix that. That's unfortunate.
Okay. So we're going to figure this out and
Delete sign player.
yeah, and then just re-sign him, I think.
We're deleting players.
Let's drag him there.
This is almost as bad as a buddy talking about Brian Fitzpatrick over the phone. We're just deleting players.
So now the good news is we can re-sign C.J. Smith for a more reasonable
For
number.
$975,000.
All you have to do is delete a player, J-Bots.
I wonder if that, like, back in, like, the 50s when there were just, like, 6 drunk dudes in a room in New York owning this
What are we
shit.
signing him at? You GMs.
Yeah, like, did
Just take
somebody...
a zero off the end.
Not
of that
$10
one.
million.
Yeah, not 10 million.
Take
Oh, 10
1
million?
0 off the end.
Okay, I see now. LOL.
What happened?
There we go. That's
Justin just
much
realized the
better
difference
number.
between
I'm
975,000.
still a little tired, guys.
That's all right.
I apologize.
It's a real bold strategy by GM Justin Eric to sign him for more than just Skinner.
So now the Sabres, instead of having $2 million worth of cap space, have almost $12 million worth
it's
of
a
cap
big
space.
difference.
What a difference
A lot more
1-0 makes.
comfortable.
Gotta like what you see there. So now the Sabres have some opportunities to do some free agents. shopping.
One thing you got to consider: there's a number of defensemen.
Oh, they're going to play. They're going to, I think, dress 8 defensemen most days.
You think so?
I do. I think because
What?
I think they're going to scratch 2 defensemen.
Yeah.
So Laura Pilot.
They did that most of last year, didn't they?
But
Like Hunwick
wouldn't
and-
you rather have?
They're going to carry 8 defensemen.
Yes,
They're not
that's-
going to dress
yes,
8
yes.
defensemen.
Wouldn't
There
you
we
rather
go.
have 8 guys on the roster, just given the situation with injuries on this blue line that seems to always crop up every season?
Well,
you know?
if
Yeah.
they don't, it's okay because you have Borgen down there. Like you have guys that could come up.
Yeah, you have
and play.
Borgen and Pilot that can move up immediately.
I think
I have
Pilot's full
Pilot on
time
my
next
team.
year. I think
Yeah.
Pilot's on the team next year.
So then let's go back up to the defense. Maybe somebody gets cut, or maybe they do dump somebody for a low round pick in a year or two.
That's whether it's Risto or whoever. They can't keep 9 guys up here.
But then who? Okay, so the problem that you have now is all of these guys outside of Casey Nelson, and you're obviously not doing anything with Darlene, are signed for at least $2.25 million. Who of any of these guys? And again, we re-signed Jake McCabe. I think Ristolainen is. Taking away Ristolainen, I don't see anybody going with Bogosian necessarily.
He's already
gonna be
hurt, so.
to start the season.
He's on regular IR though, Justin, not long term.
And then, you just acquired Montour. He's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Nobody's going to take the Scandella deal. Nobody's going to take the Hunwick deal. Maybe it's Casey Nelson, I guess.
I think Jay McCabe is a realistic trade target.
I think that's right. I think Nelson too. You carry because he's righty. Like you have a right shot defenseman that, especially with Bogosian on the shelf, Bristow and Montour are your only right hands.
Yeah, that's what you traded away Gooley last year for Montour.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see Hunwick. They try to bury Hunwick in the AHL, maybe.
I think he's your 8th defenseman. You're not going to bury out of
I think
respect for the player. You're not going to bury that guy in the AHL.
Scratch Nelson and Hunwick.
So before we even start looking at free agents or anything, we should just look at guys from Rochester who are going to be up on this team next year.
That's what I was thinking too, because you got to figure Pilot's going to get a real shot.
Yep.
Morgan performed pretty well. He could make a spot.
Yep.
He may not start the season on the big club,
I
though.
just don't know who he plays for. Like you could say Scandella. Like you might want that, but Scandella is an NHL defenseman who played really well except for last year. And I know last year was really
I
bad.
think Scandella is a player that's going to really
benefit from
Kruger.
Yes.
And
Because
then-
he was a nice player for his whole career in Minnesota and last year in Buffalo and 2 years ago in Buffalo.
I think
last year.
Phil Housley was like the little boy with the shapes toy, and you put the square and circle peg. Like he's not working there.
Don't understand shapes and sizes. So let's talk about. There's a lot of guys. Then you're looking at these non-roster invitees that probably at least deserve a shot in camp. Then, right?
Oh yeah,
So let's run through these real quick. I mean, I see 4 guys that they're going to probably give realistic shots to.
name drop.
Olsen, I think he's
Making the team.
played well, and they have a logjam at left wing.
He's
but-
already on the team. Put it that way.
I mean, he seems
Agreed.
like he's up there, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you
Top 6.
you drag him up, he's in. I think Alex Nylander is going to be up at the start of the season.
Yep.
Given his pedigree now, he seems like a realistic candidate. So there's your right wing. I think they're going to do whatever they possibly can to give Tage Thompson an opportunity to come up, given what we've seen, and whether or not he deserves it or not. Yeah, and I'm just talking about the forwards, and then also Asplund may get a play as well.
How about Arttu Ruotsalainen?
I don't know anything about the player at all. It's even like
There was a lot of conversation that he was a pretty good free agent pickup. So
21, played pro hockey, like not college.
Is he a defender? Like, is he a two-way player? Is he a defensive forward? Is he?
He's got a name that's really close to Rasmus's last name.
Yes. RJ's gonna retire just because of that.
Ristolainen over to Ristolainen over to Ristolainen over to Ristolainen.
Oh, the humanity!
Risto to Roosta.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there's a lot here, and there's a logjam. You don't want to fall in love with your own guys, but there is a bit of a logjam in terms of what the roster could be opening night.
I feel like there's got to be trades to make a room for some of these guys we're talking about, and I think the team is probably going to be higher on a player like Nylander than CJ Smith,
So
who's probably more ready to be a pro player than CJ Smith is at this time.
sorry, Ruotsalainen is almost a point a game guy. 42 points in 59 games in his most recent pro year with
What league?
Liga in Sweden.
This is harder than it's going to be.
No, it's difficult.
Yes, it's fun. Okay. We got to trade some people. I think we got to trade some people. I feel like we have to. There's got to free up room on defense. A defender's got to go, and I think a forward's got to go.
So,
And we still got to sign free agents here.
All right, so let's go back to your original idea. Let's not sign Johan Larsson or Zemgus Girgensons.
delete the player. We didn't sign Zemgus.
Right.
Yeah, but
so
you can
that
delete Johan.
that frees up
Johan
a
is
forward,
gone.
at least one forward spot, right?
Yeah.
Predict probably a center.
I think you probably still have two center spots at this point, because unless they plan on playing Erod at center for a full season, which I'm not convinced they will.
He could do it, though.
He could do it. They just haven't shown. Well, maybe the new coach, that might be different.
I feel like there'll be a center signed.
So let's go back to Jake McCabe. Maybe Jake McCabe is not a guy that necessarily gets signed.
I think he gets traded. He's going to get.
So they sign him and trade.
I think you trade his rights. You're trading his rights. Yeah.
So before he signs a
So
contract, you're going to trade him?
before.
I think if you're looking to make a room, you trade McCabe. If you're looking to get value, you're trading Risto.
But sure, but what is value? I mean, I don't even know what value is. Like, are you
You're
just
looking to get like
Biggest
you're
return.
top
looking
six
to get in
forwards, yeah.
one or two
You're
NHL
trying to get your highest
players.
return. You're looking for a high return. You're going to trade Risto.
Whereas McCabe is a low.
You're going
round
to trade
draft
blue
pick.
chip
McCabe for
prospect.
a pick and a prospect, a mid-round prospect maybe.
I don't even know if you get a prospect out of him necessarily. I could see him being like a 4th round pick or something like that.
I think McCabe is probably Pionk in the Trouba deal. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And then you package 31 with him. That's what,
Yeah.
I look at 31 as nothing other than trade bait, because GMs overvalue first round picks, and you say, I have a first round pick, I'll be at the very last one. It immediately sweetens any deal.
So what we got to agree on something here. What do you guys think? Should we make a trade? What kind of guy do you want to trade for?
This team is still looking for its second line center.
So let's entertain the idea of trading Rasmus Ristolainen.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to get the best offer on here, and maybe you can throw in, not a bad contract, but maybe there's one of the lesser forwards that you could also
Scott Wilson.
Yeah, so I mean, seriously, just someone like that. The question is now, where does he go? Since it seems like Tampa was always the discussion, but I still don't believe that they're going to trade him within the division, right?
Who? Risto?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
I mean, you want to trade him to a team that's cash strapped. That's part of the appeal of Risto's contract. Well, there's still different opinions about him. Is that he's on a very team friendly deal.
Las Vegas,
So
who has $0 in cap space as of today, by the way.
right.
None.
So is Vegas willing to? I mean, they're not going to take on a $5 million player at that point, are they?
Well, you would have to take a player with a bigger hit than Risto.
So I think it's possible you could see. Let's look at the Edmonton Oilers. a team that forever, perennially is looking for somebody on the blue line, a team that always has forwards available. Sometimes they win Hart trophies.
You want Milan Lucic, don't you?
Of course I do. My number one stat, what have I always said? It's grit. Number 2 stat is Hart, and that's all I'm looking at.
Immeasurable.
So, obviously, a couple untouchables. You're not going to get Draisaitl, and you're not going to get McDavid.
It worked in NHL.
Well, we forgot why you can't have Lucic, Bill. He's got a full no movement clause.
Oh,
When
that's
I
right.
played yesterday, I did get McDavid. Okay.
So, the logical thing would be Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but he's in our UFA. And it's reasonable to assume that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
He's got 2 years left.
Oh, he does
He'll
have
be a
2
UFA
years
at the end of that.
Okay, so to me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins seems like a guy that you could probably get. He's got flexibility because he can play either at center or wing. You'd like to see maybe what he could do with, with not the Oilers, although it seems crazy to say that. Having the Sabres there, and then because his contract is more, can you get a pick or two out of that? Say maybe, a second rounder.
I have a hard time believing that Edmonton's going to give additional assets in that.
I think the Sabres
would, if anything.
I think the Sabres got to give more to get Nugent Hopkins. Probably number 31.
I mean, when was the last time that Edmonton traded a forward straight up for a defenseman? That
GM
seems like
ago.
something they wouldn't do very often.
One GM ago, Jeff. That's how long ago it was, and that GM
trading.
seems to be
So if
looking
you
for a
trade
job.
Ristolainen in the 31st,
And probably a prospect. I
I don't know about the
That's
price.
going to be.
I
I
think
think.
that's insanity.
it's a prospect in there. I don't think it's a good one. I think maybe someone like Matej Bakar.
Samuelson, that
Cliff
Matthias
Pope.
Samuelson, that defenseman they got last year in the second round.
Yeah. Hickey could be one too.
Ogilvy's a good.
Or you could even see Borgen go. Borgen's a
Sure.
Tyler prospect that teams would be interested in.
Now I'm
And
not.
the Sabres have-
So you
Yeah,
want to
not
give
on-
up
not on board with that at
Ristolainen,
all.
Borgen, and a first round pick for Ryan Nugent?
Okay, maybe.
But the first round
maybe
pick is
forward.
31st.
But it's a first round pick. You just told me
I
that it
know.
means value.
To-
So I'm just saying,
Because you can call it a first round pick.
right?
Right, but that means Edmonton should view it as an asset.
I would say I think a prospect goes for sure, and maybe Matej Bakar goes because they have Ristolainen, they have Tage, they have Rasmus Asplund. That's a lot of.
Yeah, the prospect center pool is very good, which is good because you'll
Sure,
get one
that's
that
where they
pans
can
out.
trade from, I would say. Although a lot of those guys have wing flexibility as well. I mean, we didn't see really Thompson. Did we see Tage Thompson in center? I don't really
Not
remember
often.
it very frequently. I don't know. Are there other teams? I mean,
There's definitely other teams
Where
we
are
can
the
look
other
at.
teams then?
Well, let's look at Tampa Bay for a second. Let's explore the most talked about one because there's a lot of money that doesn't exist in Tampa Bay right now,
This is true.
and they've got a lot of players who are going to need to be signed real quick.
What'd your movie hit, Steve?
Which one?
Did you make a big trade on your roster?
Yeah, but it wouldn't fit to what you guys are doing already.
What'd you do?
I did Nylander and 31 for Turris
Yeah.
to solve
I
the second line
fucking hate
center
that
role.
deal.
Well,
I think most of Buffalo would hate that deal. I don't know.
well, it's all about if Nylander is what we hope he'll be, or if Nylander is what he's been. I like Nylander, but you got to give up.
See, there's one that's been talked about a little bit, which
I don't.
if Ryan Callahan
yeah,
is willing to
yeah,
move,
So expensive.
he's only got a year left.
so expensive.
Well, we have $12 million in cap space.
Why are you
But
helping out? Okay.
You have to. That's how these
I
deals
know,
work.
I
though.
know, but why are you helping out a division rival? Gotta help take
Because
arguably their worst
you're-
contract.
You're taking Callahan and you're getting something significant for
They
it.
did it.
what-
They did it with Legwand, right?
What else am I getting then?
That's what we have to talk about here. Are we getting Palat?
Yeah, this is
Palat has to get paid, and he's not getting paid there.
This is an inside division trade too. You think it happens?
I
Realistically,
mean, it's
Tampa. It's not Toronto.
Yeah, I don't
I get
think it's
that.
crazy.
but they're in our division. They're in.
But I don't think that if you're Tampa, are you worried about Buffalo for the next
25% of the NHL is in our.
for this run? But in all
But if you're
seriousness,
Buffalo, you're
this
worried
run,
about
are you worried about Buffalo doing anything and rising up at this point?
I don't think. I think. Oh, well, you gotta remember, Buffalo's be playing against these players in training for the next 4 or 5 years. They're gonna play against each other. They're gonna play against.
Sure,
whoever-
but there's risks that you have to take to just run this. I mean, So Jeff, who were you saying?
Palat.
So Callahan has 1 year left on it. He's
5.4.
5.4.
Contract absolutely fucking blows.
God damn. And then okay.
You want to trade for Palat?
Or Braden Point, or like I don't think
they're going to give a point.
I don't think they're going to give a point either. But if they're going to sign Point, they have to move some of this money real quick.
So it's either Palat or Point.
I heard JT Miller is the name as well.
Well, yeah, but JT Miller's not worth doing this to me.
Okay.
I agree with that too. 4 years left at 5.25. I mean, he's
not in the same
fine.
stratosphere.
He didn't even get 50 points last year. I don't know.
It's not worth a risk, in my opinion.
The problem is, too, with a lot of these guys in Tampa, they have trade or modified no trade clauses. So basically anyone you trade for Tampa can say no.
Right. Point is the only one that doesn't have at least something on that. Even Palat has a no trade.
The most attractive trade of Buffalo is probably to Edmonton for Nugent Hopkins. You're trading him to a different conference, and you're getting a proven
What do you want
center.
to look at Vegas real quick? Because that was another name
Look
that
at
came
Vegas.
up.
Yeah, we
So
can.
Vegas is at the cap. So let's see. Because they have Will Carlson that they have to sign still. He's an RFA, so you could trade for his rights.
So bear with me while I
We're all pointing
figure
at the
out,
TV, trying to tell him where to find the team.
It's
That's it.
unfortunately not motion based. This is not a Wii, so we can't.
B.
This is,
Well, it's not Las Vegas, but it's Vegas.
that's weird. So what are some shitty contracts they have? They have a lot of shitty
They
contracts.
also have a
They got
bunch-
us to the cap real quick.
They also have a bunch of picks that they can throw in there too.
I wish we could
They
sort
don't
this.
pick after the fifth
They
round.
still have the David Clark. I forgot they still have
David Clarkson. Oh my
contract.
god, dude.
Pick up Willie Carrier.
What a
Yeah, I wonder what he'd do here.
Bring him home.
The return.
Cody Eakin.
Isn't he the new coach of Anaheim? I'm kidding.
It's his older brother, Dallas.
Pluralized brother.
Oh, Eakins?
Yeah. So it's his older plural brother.
So who are you looking,
I
Jeff?
don't know.
At?
Well, I'm looking at center.
I would just pick in the list. Man,
If
I
you
don't
can
know.
somehow trade for Carlson's rights,
But then we can't trade. The Risto trade is gone then because they can't take on more money. And Eakin's making about $1.5 million less than Risto is. We have to take more money back. What are Brady McNabb's doing these days?
do you keep some of Risto's salary? I don't know.
Yeah, but at any point that we're not getting full value for Risto or retaining salary, I'm no longer interested in even pursuing the notion of it.
I think last I checked,
Nope.
McNabb was like making San Jose would be like, "Will you get the fuck away from me?"
Ryan Reeves makes almost $3 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how people
What
get paid
is
out
going on with some of these deals?
there. I love Riley Smith.
San Jose is spending half their salary cap on
Nate
defense.
Schmidt, $6 million.
It's a new deal too.
A lot of the guys
6
have
years
no
on
trade
it.
clauses too. Modified no trade clauses.
I mean,
It's
Mark Stone's got a no movement clause.
It's the
He's
name
just
of the
signed
game
big
these
deal.
days. Like everyone,
Well,
all
I
these
get-
players want to be able to lock into their money and not be able to.
no,
move.
and I give him credit. Like, look, it takes balls to sign. Knowing this situation, and then you go out and sign Mark Stone for 9 years.
The thing about Vegas had so much cap space last year, and now they have like none.
They spent their cap like
They spent that.
my buddy Eric said
quickly.
it was like they had their dad's credit card and just
They spent that.
spent it
quick.
all.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yep.
So,
And the cap went up and they've managed to spend to it.
I don't know. Yeah, boy,
I don't think Vegas is the realistic offer. It's not going to work at all.
yeah, it's not.
Let me Google like NHL trade targets. You know what I mean?
it's
like
it's hard. Yeah, because I mean, boy, you'd have to do a lot of gymnastics to make this work. You could do it. They also have 3 picks in the 3rd and 3 picks in the 5th. So you can certainly acquire a bunch of selections if that's what you're interested in.
But
I
you have
can't
to
imagine
end
anybody
up
is at
taking
this
more
point.
money back from Vegas than you're giving.
Right.
Is there anything
and that's the problem is that some of these deals are really inflated.
so. Here you go, Kessel. But apparently the Pens have said they're no longer
Yeah,
interested.
not interested
in
in that anyway.
Zucker.
Sucker.
Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, he's been talked about for a long time.
Well, he was actually traded. Phil just shut it down. The trade was in
was
place
he?
to send him to Pittsburgh, and Phil Kessel with his no movement clause
that's
shut it
okay.
down.
So 4 years left at 5.5 each year.
Are you just swapping this player? You're just swapping these guys, maybe. You think?
Zucker for Ristolainen.
2 guys who their team once gone.
It's almost even salary.
It is almost even salary.
I don't know. Other guys, apparently Zaitsev or PK Subban. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Frolik in Calgary.
Eh.
Turris. You guys seem to hate him. Shattenkirk, which is hilarious because he got so much money and now they went out. Gostisbehere, number 10 on TSN's list.
Never.
Goss this be here.
Yep. Hamonic, Connor Brown in Toronto.
Everyone from Toronto who's making too much money is on this list because they need more money.
Oli Mata, who did get traded.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan Suter has 6 more years left at 7.5.
He's such a good player, though.
As discussed on the show last week, that is fucking brutal.
That
is just
so good,
brutal.
Though.
Oh my god.
Colin Miller
Oh my God, he's going to be 40.
from Vegas.
He's still pretty good.
Panarin is still listed as a trade bait target because of his rights, I'm guessing. Kadri, Jack Johnson, Lucic, Louis Eriksson in Vancouver.
I actually don't hate Risto for Zucker straight up. It's one of those two.
So like, let's see if this works for you.
Yeah, you're a guy for my guy. Both of them are underperforming.
Yeah.
Victor Rask in Minnesota.
Like we could use Zucker way more than we could use Risto.
I think the two trades here. I think the two trades here are Nuge or Zucker. Zucker straight up.
I'd like Zucker straight up way more than I like Risto, a first and a prospect for Nugent Hopkins.
Buffalo has a good trade history, recent trade history with
They
Minnesota
need the center.
too.
They need the center.
Zucker's technically a winger, but
Zucker is a winger, yeah. Doesn't
Well,
say
if
center.
you sign him at wing, you can maybe let Erod play center full time.
or you trade
Or
for
you bring
Kyle
another
Turris,
center.
like I said.
But third, fourth line center is not an issue. It's second line center that's
Right,
the
they
issue.
need a second line center.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to give you a second line center for anything.
Well,
That
don't forget
offer.
there's free agents that we can sign after this too.
Yeah, this is just this
So
this
do
would be
we
the
want to do
pre-free agent stuff. This is
for Zucker?
I am on board for Ristolainen for Zucker.
Vote.
Do it.
Sure.
Do it.
Do it.
This means absolutely nothing, and the universe will not change. But this is
We're going
fun.
to get so much shit for our roster.
This is
I'm
so
okay
fun,
with
though.
that.
Well,
should we
I
take
wanna
off the
see
pick? Should we add a pick? Should we?
no, we're
No, I think it's 1 for
just
1.
straight up?
St. Louis's pick in the second round. No, I'm just kidding.
I would actually love this deal. I feel like,
1 for 1.
yeah.
all right.
I just like Risto
Submit
so much.
trades.
Let it be written, so let it be done.
Steve is currently crying,
Tears.
weeping all over his phone, scrolling through Twitter.
Can we move Pilot back up to the main roster now because of that?
Pilot's going up.
Cool.
Zucker.
You guys make me
Then
sad.
TJ Smith back down the age.
Can we put Saboka? Can we have Saboka anywhere but second line left wing?
get
I know he's not going to stay there, Justin.
get
But can we
Nylander.
move him now?
No,
Get-
keep him
please.
up there.
You gotta
Where
get
is he?
Nylander.
Symbolism.
Second line wing. Can we just put him?
He's a fourth line
anywhere.
center.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
I
you.
think you don't sign Larson to keep Sabaka as your fourth line center, but he's going to be unhappy. He's going to disgruntle the locker room. Unhappy players.
Can we
They'll
take
probably be
Kyle
third line
Okposo
center.
off wing for Eichel and Skinner?
Yeah. We all get one
Sorry.
request of a
Yeah.
player that we must move right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, let's move. Yeah,
you.
that and then let's
that better?
let's get Nylander up too. Nylander would be the 12th forward in
So
this.
Scott Wilson isn't playing third line.
Where's is Olofsson already up there?
Nylander.
Yeah, Olsen
Yeah,
like
you
third
move
line right
Olsen
now,
up.
but
And then I guess Tage is the 13th forward. I don't think he'll play.
Or Sabaka.
I mean, no, I just mean get Tage up
Yeah,
there
yeah,
as
yeah.
the 13th
That's
player.
fine. That's
we
fine.
can fiddle with lines after
I think there's
this
a free
too.
agent. There's probably
Well,
a
let's
free
sign a
agent
free
involved.
agent.
Sign a
And
free
let's
agent.
let's
All right,
keep
can-
moving Scott Wilson down.
Yeah, so yeah, Scott Wilson down.
he
for
needs to
sure.
go to St. Louis and play with O'Reilly because he was really good with Ryan O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
That's funny.
All right.
I was thinking the same damn thing.
All right.
So we've traded Ristolainen. He's gone for Jason Zucker. This
change
is a
of scenery
fun
move.
line right there.
So right now we have the lines as
Don't even.
Jeff
Because
Sam back
Olofsson
up
is
there.
where's
We good with
Olofsson
that?
right now?
Second line left wing.
So we got Skinner,
Yeah, that's
Eichel, Zucker in our first line. Olofsson, Middlestat, Reinhardt on our second. Shiri, Rodriguez, Nylander in the third. Okposo, Sabaka.
What
and
an expensive fourth
let's sign
line.
one more 75-year-old for $14 million and just call it a night.
All right, so we're going to UFAs now.
So we're going to go to the UFAs.
I would like to make a pitch for a UFA.
Go ahead.
I want Wayne Simmons here.
Oh dear, you're such a Flyers
Homer.
He plays for Nashville. don't know
I
what
have
you're
one
talking
too.
about.
Jason Pominville.
fan. Long time
Sign
Flyer.
him here, please.
There's no, you can't sort this one. Okay, cool. All right,
It's
let's
been
pay
really-
Artemi Panarin all the money.
So he's going to Florida.
100%.
Matt Duchene's not coming here.
Matt Duchene's resigning in Columbus, I feel.
You think so?
I do.
Pavelski's resigning in
I don't
San
think he
Jose,
is,
right?
but
San Jose has no money right now.
they don't.
I like Gustav Nyquist.
Wow, they got Pavelski, Nyquist, and Thornton, and they still don't have any money?
and Timo Meyer
They-
coming up. Timo Meyer,
and
might
Timo
be
Meyer
RFA,
and Jonas Donskoy.
Thomas Hurdle, is he an RFA as well?
Hurdle's got a couple more years.
Does
He's
he?
got time. They re-signed him.
Just crazy.
Justin Williams won't. I mean, well,
So there are two guys who come to mind for me, and
Okay.
they're Wayne Simmons and Jonas Donskoy.
I like Donskoy when I was scrolling through as well. I don't think San Jose lets him go.
They have to. They just signed Carlson to $11.5 million.
It's funny because Donskoy was playing fourth line for them, and then when Pavelski got hurt, they put him on the first line because he's that good. Like he's good enough.
where Where is? Oh,
Well, these are just sorted
there
by
he is
points
right
last
there.
season.
Oh, yeah,
If you're spelling his first name, it's JOOOOONAS. That's how he spells his first name.
All right. I would rather sign the right wing that needs to get paid than that's a. You think he can play top six? I mean, he was doing it. Right?
Donskoy? I do think he can.
He did it almost all year.
So
he played with Couture and with Thornton when.
So do you throw him in with Rodriguez then on the third line?
We still
and kind
need
of
a
use him as
second
like
line
a
center.
second to third floater. I don't think they're finding the center.
I just think it's hard to determine where to put these guys when you're still like trying to find, that top six centerman.
Okay.
I think that you can put Donskoy with Middlestat and Zucker, for example. Put Sam back with
On the top line?
Skinner and
So then Olafson's
Rangers
playing
aren't-
third line for you.
with Nylander
Rangers aren't
Olafson's
really
playing third
an
line
issue
with
right
Nylander,
now.
with
and
Erod.
Erod.
I don't hate that at all.
I think Ryan Dezingel's a real option.
Yep.
Because he plays center.
Yep.
That's
And
a
he-
realistic target. For
And
the
you know what he
Sabres.
does? Scores goals.
So
a
what
lot
do you
of
give
them.
him? Try and get him here. He
What was he making?
obviously was
1.8.
1.8. He's
Oh,
way
he's going to get
underpaid.
paid 6.5 to 7. Does that sound right?
I mean, he's
Yeah.
on the second tier of free agents, right? He's not any of the. He's not Panarin. He's not Duchesne. He may be third or fourth, though. We know Hayes is going to get eventually picked up by Philly.
Well,
No?
maybe.
Oh,
I'm not convinced.
got our Philadelphia insider over here. That's why we call you Rocky. So,
I thought we called. Never mind.
wow, Jason Spezza is still
Kicking
playing
around.
hockey. That's cool.
Don't forget the Sabres have spoken with Palmerville's agent. That could be a thing still.
He should be here. I signed him for $2 million.
In lieu of who?
A 1 year, $2 million deal to play on the top line, 100%.
Also available, Tyler Ennis.
Okay, what
he had a
what did
hat
he make
trick
last
this
year?
year.
Yeah, the hat trick.
What?
4.5. Does that sound right? Was Palmerville on a 4.5 year deal? A 4.5 a year deal?
I think slightly north of 4, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
So
lot.
you think he'll take basically a pay cut? in
He's
half?
36. Yeah, I think he's not going to get. Sabres will sign him for nostalgia alone. Other teams will look at him and be like, "No, I'm not paying
Well,
you."
here's the
The Sabres are bad with nostalgia.
They are, but he actually could produce on the top line.
here's the thing. Like, are the Sabres going for it this year? Are they worried about a second line center to be a Stanley Cup contender, or are they just trying to get to the playoffs?
Depends on if you think
'Cause-
Botterill thinks he's in trouble or not.
Botterill drafted the guy in his first year in the NHL.
I think they're trying to.
Oh,
I think
what you're
they're
saying, sorry.
trying to make a push to get to the playoffs.
So it's the thing. If they're going for a cup, then you're looking for a solid second line center for Bridge. I don't know, because I think you're projecting Middlestat to be a better player in his third year. That's next year.
The Middlestat, you mean?
So it's Middlestat. Is that what I say?
No, you didn't say anything. You
So
just
I think Middlestat doesn't. They don't think they need the center per se. It looks nice on the roster. It looks good on paper, but do they need it? Because you're really looking to be good next year and the following years. I think this offseason is preparing for the run in a few years.
When we're talking about acquiring players too, I always, just a personal thing, lean towards signing a center, because it is so much easier to move a center to wing
Yes,
than
I agree.
to have a wing play center. So if it
So-
works out that you have Casey Middlestat becomes a stud,
Okay.
and you happen to have another good center that you have to put on his wing because they're not a bottom six player, fine.
Not to plagiarize from our good friend Chad over at Die by the Blade. What if we went with Reinhardt at center?
It just hasn't worked here. I don't hate it, but it hasn't worked.
But it hasn't worked because it hasn't been given a shot. He really only got, was it like a dozen games or
It's a
something?
young
So let me flip it.
It's a young player.
How well did
years
he?
ago,
How well
2
did he
years
play
ago?
at wing though? The last 2 years at wing, he's played so well.
But is his ability limited because he's playing the wing, or is he just a guy who gets to the puck in front of the net on power plays and stuff, which you can do at center?
I don't know. I think he likes playing wing.
I think he likes playing with Jack.
I think that's right, but I think he also.
Well, and if he's playing with Jack, he's a wing.
but when I think of Reinhardt, I think of like on the dasher half wall goal line throwing, like setting up, and that's going to be a winger, not a center. But I don't know.
Centers are set up guys.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think
I think of Reinhardt passing
just-
the puck between his legs right
I-
on Jack's tape
I
in
think
the
he
slot.
should.
Like,
He was drafted as a center. He was a center. He's a natural center.
He was a center all through junior.
He came into the league as a center as like a 19, 20-year-old,
Yeah,
right?
He was the number 2
He's playing
pick.
with like fourth line players at center.
He his draft year he went back to junior, and then he played. Then he's been up on the Sabres since
And
he
he
was
had
19.
he had underdeveloped strength and skating.
Can we
He's
say
improved his
that?
skating and he's improved his strength.
Can we say with Kruger and that whole I talk to every player that can we believe that Reinhart will be playing where he wants to play this year?
I don't know. Dude, it's not about what you want to do. It's about it's a team.
No,
What does the
right.
team want
I
you to
know,
play?
but if he sits down with Sam and Sam says, "Man, I really feel like I could flourish if I was in the center."
Hey, do they
role."
trade Reinhardt
No.
for a fucking King's ransom? He's got one left to his deal. They could. I
And
don't
they're
know.
only paying him 3.2 or something.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
I don't want him to.
they don't want him to. But I mean,
It is intriguing too that you have a guy who may not necessarily be sold on the notion of standard positioning. Potentially, we don't really know what we're getting with Kruger. He was here for one season, and it was during the strike shortened season or the lockout shortened season.
and you think Reinhardt at center solves a lot of issues too.
I'm just saying, if you put it there, there is something to be said.
So are you putting Middlestad as third center?
Yeah,
Putting Erod on the second line wing? What are we doing with that? I'm not
Hang
being
on,
snarky.
Steve.
I'm not being snarky. I'm wondering what happens. Does Middlestad play wing on the second line? Does he? You know what I mean?
think
Well, now I
you're
think-
developing. He's
now
still
I-
developing Middlestat at center, and he had a rapport with Sheary last year for whatever reason. Analytically, he played great with Sheary.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're in the wing market maybe instead of the center market, where then,
Thomas Vanek.
yeah,
I saw you mouse over him. I knew you were going to fucking say that.
now you can go get Dzingel.
At 6'7",
You got over. Now we have almost $13 million to spend.
we had to sign Reinhardt next year. We had to sign Dowling in 2 years.
And it's been all 13 mil of it,
But
but it's not.
Bogosian disappears off the.
Bogosian goes- yeah,
Reinhardt's
okay.
already
Both
near
of your goalies do
over
as well.
3.5. Like that's not Reinhardt's not going to be getting
Reinhardt's
the
gonna
days
Reinhardt's
of
gonna
the
get about
Jack
5 or
Eichel.
6.
Yes, he's not going to get the Eichel money, but
Might get
he
7.
will. I'm thinking Dzingel, if you can get him in for 6.5, 7, I think that's fine.
Zingel's 27, 29. Reinhardt's 24.
Do we like Dzingel that much more than Donskoy?
Well, I know you don't, but
I'm just asking the
I would
group.
think
I do. If you were to tell me hey, who's the better player? It's Dzingel every time
yeah.
for me. Because on a bad team in Ottawa, he was just an absolute sniper. Donskoy is a decent player on a good team. I think that Dzingel is just. I think he just fills the net.
What do you think, Justin?
I don't
Mike?
know what to think. Zingel's kind of expensive, I feel like.
Offer sheet Mitch Marner.
Right, like someone like Brett.
I mean,
well, like someone like, if you're in the market for a wing, what about someone like
They
Brett
can't, even, they
Connolly?
can't even do that, I don't think.
Who? Why?
No, sorry, keep going.
They have their own firsts.
That's true.
You can offer sheet Marner.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Marner?
offer sheet. Yes,
Mine, they don't have all the first.
there
to
has
it.
never
Yeah, they
been
do.
a
What
team.
first don't they have?
I tried it. They don't. Like, let's try it. Hang on.
What first round pick don't they have? Sorry, Bill.
Hang on.
I'm with
No,
you.
I'm
They
just
think
You
saying
have to have
they
all your own first round picks,
Yeah,
right?
I think they do.
Let's just see what
I don't think Winnipeg can do it, even though they got their pick back. I believe that they cannot do it because it is a tainted pick.
Mitchell Marner. It's a tainted pick.
Compensation met. It is met. My bad.
I say they haven't traded a first round pick of their own.
But you're paying this
So
guy
$11 million a year.
Do it.
$11 million a year for Mitch Marner.
Do it. I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that, but it would be great if the Sabres did piss in
You
the
can give him
Maple Leafs Cheerios and like offer-
8.5, 9. Jeff Skinner contract.
He wouldn't take it because someone would give him more.
But can the Leafs afford
They
it?
can't meet the compensation though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they don't have
Oh.
a second. Okay,
You have,
that's
gotta
what it
be
was.
you
this-
have to go to either over 10
I
and a
see.
half,
I see.
or you're. I mean, it would
You
be
true.
funny to sign him to a $3 million offer sheet and see if he'll take the bridge. But hey man, here's the deal: 3.5.
See what I'll
We'll
sign
give
him-
you a letter.
You can't sign it. You can't sign him at more than one jacket. So I feel like
And have you seen our list of
Jack's
the 53 reasons
Jack's
why
the
Jeff
face of
Skinner
your-
signed here?
Jack's the face of your team.
No, I
You're not
know.
gonna- yeah.
I
No,
know.
we're being stupid.
I know. But
All right.
It would be so good to
It would
piss in the
still be
Maple
funny,
Leafs
though.
Cheerios though, and offer sheet him for $12 million and just make them shit a brick.
I mean, they wouldn't pay him.
No.
The Maple Leafs fan base has like people that just they will never be able to get over themselves if they let Mitch Marner go. They're really, really into Mitch Marner.
Brett Connolly. Brett Connolly, Microphone Land, I think fit. We could sign Donskoy.
I mean, if you're going to go with Connolly, then just go with Donskoy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
If, if you go below Dzingel on
right,
the
if you
money
want to
chart,
drop down a money chart,
To me, you want
that's 100% right.
if you want to go with a wing, go either Donskoy if you're looking to save a little bit down the road, because you can probably bring him. What do you think, Jeff? Like 4.5?
I was thinking 5.
5. All right. So if even at 5, Dzingel is 1.5 to 2 million more easy.
And then you go down below that, it gets the return is
Right, and then it's after
I already
that-
tried to convince everyone about Wayne Simmons. I got shut down pretty quick.
I would take Wayne Simmons.
Richard Panik up there, huh?
You want to do Donskoy or Simmons?
Let's get Cronwell.
If you're looking for a third line player,
Nicholas
Simmons is
Cronwell.
where you're looking. Simmons is the guy for a third line. If you're-
Simmons was not good.
He had a
last year.
down year.
We're
but
trying-
part of that was
He
going
wasn't
to
good in Nashville either, though.
We're trying to fill
Well, that's where he wasn't good. Yeah,
a third, fourth line winger here.
Yeah, he was better.
or a second, and you moved Nylander to the third. I think
Whatever,
he can be
yeah.
a second line winger, but you're filling a second or third line winger
So
position.
I say we go Donskoy or Brett Connolly.
My vote is Donskoy on that list.
Yeah, if those are the two we're between,
Don-
I'm all for
Yep,
Donskoy.
go
I
ahead.
think it's Donskoy or Dzingel.
Donskoy at 5.
How many dollars does he get?
Five.
Getting
million.
5 mil.
How many years?
Justin's about to give him $50 million.
You want to do 5 and 5?
I think 5 by 5.
He just is the Matt Molson now. That's all. He just gets the exact contract that Matt Molson did.
It worked so
I
well
get-
the first time.
And just tell him that if you fuck this up, you're going to Ontario, California.
Get the douche chills just
Yeah,
thinking
but-
about
There's
5
not
by
much
5
of
right
it.
now.
So-
that guy's not afraid of California.
Is 5 what you think is worth, or is 5 what you think he's going to get? Because if he's got in Buffalo, you're going to overpay him a little bit.
I think Bill had him at 4.5, and I think he'll get paid a little bit more than that
5 is
because he's
fine.
coming here.
Yeah, 5's fine. There's a Buffalo tax.
Okay. We've signed Jonas Donskoy.
I think he goes on the second line with Sam and Olesen.
That's actually these guys played well. Nylander, Middleset, and Sheary played well at the end of the season together. I don't hate this.
Your fourth line is a little pricey.
Well, you know,
Is Oposo down
Can
there?
we buy
Yeah.
Okposo out?
the post is a right wing.
I think you buy a poster out after next year.
I think
he's another guy you hope Ralph Kruger injects a little life into. But maybe we're putting way too
I
many
think
chips
if
on
I
that
just-
number.
I honestly think Okposo is probably the 7th. It's a 10th forward.
The 10th.
Yeah.
So he,
Probably flip
And
him and
then I
Sabatka.
think you bring Tage up as the extra forward, just
you're not bringing up-
so we count it for money purposes.
You're not bringing him Tage up as an extra forward. You can keep him playing in Rochester.
Yeah, he's definitely one that I'd rather see playing in Rochester than sitting in the press box getting
I
nothing
mean,
out
they
of
could,
it.
probably
they could
gonna-
be playing him over Sabotka for all I know.
So you're probably doing this, honestly. Scott Wilson staying on the roster.
I don't know.
So we've got $6 million sitting in the press box now.
Well, I mean,
But it's all in one player.
this is not an exact line
True,
right
but-
now, but
So
and
just,
Oposo's the right
it
way.
does-
just
feel-
for a look at the roster we share on Twitter, it should be like that.
You should probably flip Sabatka and Okposo.
Yeah, they're opposite sides.
Let's get down to the details here.
Okay.
It's all about the deets. Blown up.
Very popular.
that's a GM calling us for a trade.
I agree. Make it so. All right. Did we fix it? Did we create a winner?
It's better.
And this is obviously assuming that you're not getting someone that can immediately be a
You're not-
draftable player that's playing in the NHL, which at 7 I think is reasonable. And that's the other one that you could go with too, is they could, if they wanted to move up or they wanted to get maybe a couple players with term, you could trade that 7 and maybe it's Ristolainen and maybe it's somebody else, I don't know, on draft night and make your move. It's possible.
It could be a very busy weekend around the league with all those teams that have to juggle money.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking is how you trade that. Excuse me, that any trade you would make would be dependent on what you see come your pick in the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's somebody there available that you think you can plug and play right away on the NHL team, then you may or may not be making a move that you would have to make in our situation here.
Is it possible that Kyle Okposo can recover?
I don't think he'll ever recover fully.
Recover?
No.
I think it'd be more effective. Recover? No, I think
It is what it is.
4 more
It is
years.
what
on
I'm
that
okay with a
contract.
bottom 6 right wing role for him and like power play 2.
Bottom 6 for sure. I think
When he can get the shot off, and it takes a couple minutes, but when he can get it off, it's still pretty good.
He skates like his life depends on it every shift.
and he goes hard as he can. You cannot question his effort on any night.
Have you been looking at Big Green Eggs recently online?
Huh?
Because all your pop-up ads are for like Ashley Furniture's Big Green Eggs. Are you trying to upgrade your grill game?
It's actually weird because I was talking about the green egg smoker last night.
There you go.
I did not Google it though. I was only talking about it.
Because you've spoken into a microphone, my friend. They're always listening.
That is actually weird. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, all right.
It's been on your screen for about 40
It's been
minutes.
bugging
now.
me for a while, so I'm glad we finally got that cleared
I
up.
was talking about the green egg specifically yesterday. I want to get a smoker.
Yeah. Well, and you love Ashley Furniture.
I actually
so.
fucking hate Ashley Furniture.
Oh, wow. Go in on them, Queen.
Table, man. My dining room table. Remember you guys came for a podcast? I just bought a dining room table.
Yeah.
And then they got it like 2.5 months later.
Mm-hmm.
Awful.
Oh,
It's a long story. I don't want to get into it.
all right. Well,
Long story.
tune in next
Sounds
week
like your
for
love for
Justin
Ashley
shoots
Furniture.
on Ashley Furniture.
burial of
Sounds like
Ashley
his sounds like his love for Ashley Furniture is the same as my love for Raymore and Flanagan.
Great.
Oh, man. I hear Bradley Gelber shops at Ashley Furniture a lot. So
You know, guys, we're talking
you hate to
furniture.
see
Let's
that.
take this time to break up the segment with an interview that we did.
Are we done here?
We're
breaking it up.
literally talking about fucking furniture right now, so
We're not
we can
talking
go
about
back to it.
fucking
But we can.
furniture. We're talking about furniture.
Sorry,
I don't know
no,
That's a
what you
different
do in
pop-up
your-
This
ad.
couch is salmon.
That's a different pop-up ad, Bill.
Hey, Justin's
Is this
computer.
it? Are we done? Is this
Furniture fucking. All right, let's see what comes up now.
it? Are we done? Is this it?
we can.
We could come back to
Let's
it.
come back at it. Let's think about it. Let's
Come back and read the roster.
Why don't
Who's
we
playing
have
with whom?
Steve and Jeff do an interview, and then we'll come back in a couple minutes, and then we'll think about
Yeah,
it.
FC Buffalo goalkeeper Bryce Tremuta set to join us here live on the podcast. And welcome back to the 716 Sports Podcast, joined here by our special guest for the evening, FC Buffalo goalkeeper Bryce Tremuta. Bryce, thanks so much for taking time out of your night and spending it here with us.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
So we're talking to you here on the heels of another big FC Buffalo home victory now. 3 home games, 3 victories, 3 starts for you, and 0 goals allowed. What has allowed you, your defense, your team to come out of the gate here at home with such a high level of success?
Just the style of play that we're doing. We switched to 3-5-2, and our mindset is just to attack. Our forwards are so fast, so when we go into the game, we have this mindset that we're going to attack the channels, and we do it. And it's been working great for us so far. Our defense has been so solid in the back. I mean, we're not really giving up many chances, so if we're not going to give up many chances, we're really not going to lose games with our attackers scoring all these goals.
Now, the first 2 games of this homestand, you guys pretty much controlled the pace of play, had a ton of shots. It seemed like you were barely seeing any action. Now, that did change a little bit on Friday, especially out of the gate. Pittsburgh seemed to really be getting on you guys. Was there anything they were doing differently or anything that you guys had to react to that kind of caught you by surprise? It seemed like they were really pushing the play at you for the first 10 minutes or so.
Pittsburgh didn't get the memo that FC Buffalo is supposed to control possession and the ball. They missed that memo somehow.
Yeah, that's exactly it. As opposed to the other teams we played, they actually tried to play and like maintain and possess the ball, which we really weren't used to. So I think it kind of took us 10, 15 minutes to realize that they're trying to play and we can't just go all out attack all the time. So once we figured that out, we realized we kind of had to sit back a bit and kind of let them come at us and wait for our chance and counter a bit. And that's kind of how we got the early chances and just took it from there.
Now, Steve and I have debated this on the broadcast and are curious to your thoughts about it. Is it easier for you to get into a game when you have a touch of the ball early, or does having a game where you don't see the ball until maybe the 40th minute, does that negatively impact you at all?
I prefer to get something early on just to kind of get you in the game, get a feel for the ball, the speed of the play. So making that save in the 3rd minute, I think did a lot for me for the rest of the game. Because I think it was last week I really didn't touch the ball until the 50th or 60th minute. And, I mean, I was lucky to not get scored on. They almost snuck one in the back post last week against Erie. But once you start making a save or two, you just kind of get into the game and you get that momentum. And I think that helps carry you throughout the game if you're able to touch the ball early on.
So now you guys, with your 3 straight home wins, you had the road defeat to start the season at Rochester. And now you're going back on the road here for a couple of games. What is going to be important for you guys in terms of whether it's mentally or just preparing for the game to go back out into the unfriendly confines, not in front of the Situation Room, but keep that same style of play, that same momentum for you guys moving forward here to Cleveland?
I mean, it's definitely going to be different going away from home. We love playing at home. We love playing in front of fans, hearing them sing and chant the whole game. But we know they'll be with us in the away games. But we just need to realize the teams we played that we're about to go away to, how they played and how we need to adapt to anything they can come at us with. I'm kind of like that we're playing Pittsburgh away immediately because I think they're our toughest game in the last 3 games that we had. So we can kind of prepare for them a little bit differently, knowing that we just played them. We know they like to possess and move the ball. And that's what we'll be working on all week, is just making sure that we don't have any defensive lapses like we did in the first 10, 15 minutes this past week.
So we know that the first 2 games, only a couple times you were called on, and Pittsburgh asked a couple questions unofficially by our count, something like 8 saves on Friday night. That has to be, I don't know much about your career outside of FC Buffalo, but that has to be an all-time great game for you as far as each time you were called on. And I tell you what, some of them were really good. Your positioning was good. You were off your line at the right times. I felt like their keeper actually made a couple bad decisions when he came off his line, and you guys got one by him. But your decision-making's been good. Your positioning's been good. And you made a couple of 10-bell saves this past week. Does it feel like you're in the groove?
It does. It does. I'm playing really confident, and it's nice to know, too, I have the back line of Chris, Josh, and Rob in front of me. You might not realize this, but the positioning of them really affects a lot of the saves I make. Before a shot's taken, the way they position themselves against the attacker really helps me make a judgment of where I need to dive and where the ball is going. So that might not be something you see, but the 3 of them play a big role in making those saves, and they might look hard, but the way they help me out makes them easier for me.
Does it feel a bit more like a high-risk, high-reward systems? We've noticed Colin O'Keefe, essentially, although he's not part of the back line, he ends up playing like a right-back role because he does come back to help out Chris. But we noticed a couple times on Friday that all 3 of your back lines were running towards you. And that's generally not a good thing, because that means that they're scrambling, trying to make sure that they're not getting beat. And, you guys, I don't want to put this the wrong way. You guys got away with it a couple times because of Pittsburgh's speed. So that being said, that anytime you have a 3-man back line, you risk giving up a rush the other way. You risk giving up the counter. Thus far, you guys have been able to quell that, whether it's muddying up the middle or making a big save. But I don't know. Does the system make you uneasy? Are you comfortable in it? I don't know.
I like it because we're an offensive-minded team, so the backs are going to have to get up from time to time. But we just got to make sure that we're getting back. I think we got caught out a few times of getting back, or if one of the back line is getting up, our midfielders didn't always come back at the beginning of the game. So that's something we got to fix. But I think all the benefits of playing the way we do outweigh those negatives, because all the goals we're scoring, I mean, most soccer games, you're not scoring 3 to 5 goals a game, and we're doing it. So if we're going to keep playing this type of style, we could afford to give up a goal or 2 because of the benefits of what it brings and the speed that we have. Especially Colin, he does such a good job of getting up and down the field that don't mind him going forward for a run, because we're going to have people get back. But at times you will get caught out, but it's just part of the system that we're playing.
It's a good point that if you're scoring, you can afford to give him up. So we know Rob pretty well. We've seen him play last year center back with Ewan, right? I actually still keep in contact with Ewan a bit, but Ewan's in Calgary now. And we've heard of this Chris Walter guy a little bit, once or twice. He's kind of a big deal. But tell us about Josh, because I tell you what, especially on set pieces, he really seems to police the middle of the box, whether it's the 6-yard box out by the penalty spot. He wins a ball and he gets it clear. And obviously he's got the size. But so you have Rob playing left back, which is amazing, because even with his size, he's really good at pushing up on offense. Chris is so multi-talented. But then you see Josh Reed in the middle, just absolutely dominating defensively in the middle as kind of the lone center back. There's times he's on an island, right? Because he's the only center back, but he seems to do a really good job policing in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Especially his height too. I mean, I'm not the biggest goalkeeper, so coming into a crowd of people for a cross is a little bit difficult for me at times. But knowing that I have a 6'6" guy in front of me, I could stay on my line a bit more. And if he's beat, I have a better chance of making a save than coming out and potentially missing it. So just having his height and presence and skill there did so much for me. Just knowing that he's going to win most of the balls. And if he doesn't, I'll likely be in a better position to make the save as opposed to coming off my line, potentially not getting the ball. So it just makes such a big difference.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So we happened to see the clip that was even retweeted by Buffalo News, and you were pretty fired up, and rightfully so, because Johansson gets the rock bottom basically on the touchline there, a little kind of contact to the face, and then literally thrown to the ground, and the ball had already gone out of play, and the official had already the assistant referee already had the flag pointed for a goal kick because the ball went out of touch, and immediately waved the flag to say, hey, that type of play, and I'm not asking you to get anybody in trouble, but that type of play is ugly, and gratefully no one was hurt. But that seemed, you were really fired up, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
but that seems like that's an ugly play.
Exactly, and I got a yellow for just coming over. I didn't even push the Pittsburgh player, but
maybe you should have. You could have earned the yellow.
Honestly, I found out why I got it. The ref told me it's like the third man in rule, because it could potentially start a brawl. So that's why I got the yellow. It didn't make much sense to me. If that's a yellow, how throwing some guy on the track's a yellow. But yeah, that could have been a really dangerous play and really should have been a red card, in my opinion.
Well, now you know next time, at least push somebody. You're going to get a yellow anyway.
Just do something that's worthy of getting the yellow instead of just going up to someone.
Yeah, we saw Nick Mendola was on that tweet too. He's like, if Bryce is mad, that tells you something. He said he got a fuse longer than Niagara Falls Boulevard, so it must have meant something if you were actually mad about that play.
Yeah, I was not happy. I don't get mad too often, but that made me pretty upset.
So now, after a long homestand, FC Buffalo back on the road at Pittsburgh, at Cleveland, before returning home here in a couple of weeks. Bryce, thank you so much for taking time here in the middle of this hot streak of play and spending it here with us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Of course. And thanks to Bryce for taking time out to talk with us there. If you haven't seen that foul that was somehow just a yellow card on the Pittsburgh forward and on Bryce for being the third man in, you can find it on the Buffalo News soccer page or on the live stream of the game, and it is the most egregious non-straight red I've ever seen given for something that happened that far after the whistle. I told Steve when it happened, I cannot believe that that's not a red card. It's a little egregious. Gave him the old arm drag onto the track, not the field. So glad that Philip was okay and able to continue. We do have our roster here that we've assembled. We made a trade. We cut some players off. Jack's moving Jack Eichel. Okay, over to the power play. Here's what we have right now. Justin, you want to do the honorary reading of our Buffalo Sabres roster?
So we have Eichel centering Jeff Skinner and Jason Zucker, who we traded Rasmus straight up for. Thought that was a pretty fair deal.
You can't say that because there's 3 Rasmuses now.
Rasmus Ristolainen.
Down to 2.
We traded Ristolainen straight up for Jason Zucker.
Traded Rasmus Asplund for Jason Zucker straight up. Wow.
Great deal.
Got him.
Bottrell strikes again.
Now we have... Then we after much discussion, we've decided to... It made sense roster-wise. I saw a lot of problems putting Sam Reinhart at centering Victor Olofsson and Jonas Donskoy.
Interesting.
So after we signed Donskoy at 5x5. And then we got Middlestat at the third line, centering Sheary and Nylander. Followed by Rodriguez centering the fourth line. Centering Sabaka and Kalakposa.
Centering $15 million.
It is an $11 million fourth line.
Yep.
Scott Wilson is the 10th forward.
The 13th forward.
13th. I'm counting good.
He is a forward.
Justin's good at math.
Number
I've
to
been
be assigned later.
awake a lot lately. I apologize.
Defenseman.
Obviously, we traded Ristolainen. So we got Montour, Darlene, Jake McCabe, Lawrence Pilot, Casey Nelson, Marco Scandella, and Matt Hunwick is the 7th. Bogosian is on IR. And then obviously Hutton and Allmark. Sutton.
Linus.
What are they going to do about goaltending? Because everyone says goaltending's bad.
Is it bad, though, or is the defensive bad?
No, I'm not saying that. Just everyone says that the goalies have been
goaltending
playing.
is not the issue in this
Let's
team.
give them each another chance.
I'm
Yeah.
totally kidding. My tongue was so far in my cheek.
This roster is possible because the goaltending is so cheap right now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to stay cheap because after these two guys are gone, they're bringing up Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's going to make pennies.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
That dude's throwing up insane numbers. He should be a good goalie, a great goalie. We still got some nice prospects down and for defense.
Yeah, you got Borgen, who's going to be pretty good, I think. Casey Fitzgerald has some potential. And they've got all this forward prospects. We talked about Asplund and Rustalainen, and Tage is still a question mark whether he starts the year on the big club or not. So there's definitely still pieces.
I'd like to see Tage start in Rochester.
And they're drafting a guy number 7. Correct?
They are.
I'm sorry, Steve. I'm saying I don't. I'm not to mix of our past discussions. I think Smith is a real trade option for the Sabres.
You're dead to me. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Maybe Matej Bakar. Who knows? But what do we think? It's a fair roster, huh?
What's the cap
It's a
space
roster.
like?
Seems
What's the cap
better.
space at? Cap hit is 76.
So just
got-
shy of $7 million.
We got 6 million. Yeah. It's nice.
So
I think it's more realistic than what we're seeing on Twitter these days. People are adding like fucking 8 players, like JT Miller,
Yeah,
Sharanek.
the Risto for Callahan and JT Miller trade is very popular this week.
I've seen people that make it work financially, but it's realistically they're not going to add that many guys in an offseason.
You don't see a wholesale change like changing out 6, 7, 8,
Unless
sending
you're-
out 6, 7, 8 players, bringing in 6, 7,
Unless
8
you're
new
Columbus at the
players.
deadline.
I mean,
Yeah.
even this
But for
roster,
the most part, you don't see that.
Yeah,
It's rare.
even this roster is a trade, a free agent signing, and 2 call-ups.
It's
Like
very
it's still
realistic.
4 out of 12 forwards are
Right.
different from last year.
it's not that. It's not the whole.
But 2 of them are still
wholesale.
within your system.
Yeah, but it's still change.
this is a real offseason. Like
It feels realistic. We kept the the auto GM can't just immediately accept or decline.
look at this top line power play, dude. I think the way Olsen shoots the puck, I think he's unseating Skinner on the first time power play, taking that wing, because you're gonna have Eichel and Olsen on opposite on wings, just ripping that puck. And I think he can. I think that puts Skinner down to the second line power play.
So who's centering the second line though?
Casey?
Casey probably. And then Casey.
I guess Casey with Skinner and Zucker.
And probably Zucker, yeah.
Or Donskoy, yeah.
Poor Kyle Ekposo.
And then you got Pilot.
And McCabe. Or Scandella.
I don't think that first power play is right because Eichel's going to play the left point.
Well, he takes the face off, so I'm sorry.
No, because then you're not going to have Dahlin or Montour slot in front of the net. So I mean, it has to be 4 forwards if he plays the point.
Yeah, there's going to be 4
Yeah, you're right.
forwards.
You're
in
right.
there.
You're right. My bad. You think it's D for?
Well, we already submitted the roster, so we can't change it.
It's broken now.
Well, yeah.
It's
so
in stone.
Put Sabaka
I
out
like
there.
it to think right now.
Don't say that too loudly around certain people.
Hey, he's gotten plenty of time in overtime, hasn't he not?
Yeah,
A lot of
before
time.
Jeff
I had
Skinner
a
a lot
Skinner
of times.
frequently, yeah.
A lot of experience out there.
And then I think he puts Sam's technically at center, and then
So then you still have Skinner on there.
yeah, and then Montour can play the second power play,
And Jack Eichel plays the point.
and then you have to put Donskoy or someone else out there instead of Skinner on the second one.
Thank you. I'm better. I'm all better now.
Jeff Skinner is playing all the power play.
Don't hate it.
He's versatile.
That's what Ovi does.
Yeah.
Your 40 goal scorers out there
He's-
early and often.
He's triple shifting it.
So I have a question before we wrap this up fully. Has there been a more satisfying hockey moment as a Sabres fan in the last 5 years than St. Louis beating Boston in Game 7? Has there been a single Sabres game or moment that has been more fulfilling as a Buffalo sports fan than watching Boston lose on
Single
home ice in Game
Sabres
7?
moment?
Yeah.
No.
It's
This
the
team
high
has
point
not
of me
been
being
much
a
to watch
Sabres fan
since
the last 5 or 6 years.
2010.
By many degrees of magnitude, that was satisfying.
This team has not been very much to watch since 2010.
I'm really trying to make an honest effort to think about it, and nothing's coming to me.
Nothing at all.
Like, I'm really trying right now to think of something.
There's always that moment that we signed Matt Molson back after we traded into Minnesota for a first. That was pretty cool.
Buffalo selects Jack Eichel.
I mean, that's about it.
Pretty
Yeah.
iconic.
But nothing on ice.
Successfully coming in last place, guaranteeing Jack Eichel. That was a fun moment.
Question: should I share this tonight or should I share it now or tomorrow?
With the Worlds?
Yeah.
Post it. That's great. Post it with the
Post with the
podcast. Post with the show.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we put a bow on this one? Any other shower thoughts? Anything interesting?
Mata to the Blackhawks. Cahoon back to Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh gets another winger that can score.
Trouba to the Rangers.
Trouba to the Rangers in exchange for Neil Pionk, the 20th
Pionk.
overall pick.
Great name. Neil Pionk.
Mm-hmm.
Justin raised over $1,000 for charity on Friday into Saturday. Late Saturday. His 24-hour charity stream that turned into a 28-hour charity stream.
28 and a half hours of playing video games. $1,050.
It's pretty great.
I'm still very tired. You can tell by I've been making a lot of mistakes here on catfriendly.com. Very tired still. Actually, I woke up. I fell asleep and woke up on accident. Like 5 minutes before you guys all started walking in the house.
Would have been awkward. I just came in here by myself.
All right, that's
Yeah, we all just walk in the front door, don't we?
How
The side door.
about Game 7 real quick? Game 7 of the Cup Finals. The game that Bennington played.
He had to be that good.
Especially in the first.
Bruins owned that game for probably about the first 2 periods. Most of the
The
second
score was
period.
2-0, and the Blues had 6 shots.
I know. And he just weathered a serious storm from Boston.
They just
Couple
they
of
played
real good
a
saves,
road
too.
game in an NHL playoff series, right?
His 2 best games were in Boston, Game 5 and Game 7.
Yep.
Those were his 2 best games.
Mm-hmm.
The first goal was just a mental breakdown by Rask. Didn't have a stick down on his 5-hole. As a guy that didn't have a shot for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Second one was the mental breakdown of a decade by Brad Marchand.
Yes, bad.
That's an all-time bad defensive play.
Yeah.
And we got to see him cry, which is my favorite.
I still don't. Was 10 seconds left?
Yeah.
The period.
I forgot who it was who tweeted it. It's like,
Just like-
there was the one writer who was like, what a veteran play by Marchand rushing off the ice and avoiding that -1.
Yeah, why are you getting off the ice with that much time left? Like,
It
Well,
just-
he tries to do the Marchand, which is step into Schwartz instead of making a defensive play, and he misses entirely. And he just goes off the ice instead of playing Dion Pietrangelo.
well, he'll always have licking.
He'll always have
he'll always
licking.
have flicking.
Yeah, I
Interesting
mean,
career.
yeah. Well, he was. I was listening to I think it was one of the Puck Soup episodes. I don't remember if it was the regular or the bonus, and it's like we were rooting for Brad Marchand against that Canucks team in 2011 because that Canucks team was so unlikable.
Alex Burrows is a very likable guy.
Is he?
Rafi Torres was on that team, too.
Fucking Raffy's all right.
So it's kind of weird to think that like
name
Marchand
I
has
forgot
come
about.
full circle to this. Admittedly, he's still a major best. He's also one of the best offensive players in the league now.
Yeah.
But his just moment of weakness, I guess, for what I don't know.
It was his Achilles
He
heel,
just-
feeling the need to take a run at a guy, cost him.
And he didn't even really make the run.
I know, but
Like,
he tried to play the body instead of playing the puck, I guess, is more my point. He could
no,
have
it's
tried
fine.
to.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
did-
All he has to do is
Even
get in Schwartz's way. That play never happened.
Yeah.
And then they even tried to backtrack and just got off the ice.
Yep.
Like, missed the play, left the guy open, got off the ice.
Yeah.
Like, missed the hit, looked up, went to the bench.
All right, deuces.
Like, at least if he tries to go back on Pietrangelo and messes up, at least he'd be like, well, at least he tried to get back and play
All I gotta
defense.
do, you don't have to stop, you just gotta pressure him. You gotta make him, you gotta throw him, you gotta throw
Make
it.
him not have a clear run.
Yeah, you're
Right?
at that point just trying to throw off a shot. Like, make him shoot a rush a shot.
And people try to use plays like that to say Alex Ovechkin wasn't good for 10 years. Like, we can bury Brad Marchand for that one a little bit.
Yeah.
The kind of offense-only mentality.
What do you guys think about the Erik Karlsson deal?
It's a lot of fucking money.
It's a lot of money to a team that already has money wrapped up in Burns and Vlasic.
That team's gonna be so
Yeah,
old.
they
They better win a cup right now.
right.
They don't have a first round pick
And
this
they-
year
they-
or next. They don't have a second round pick.
and they weren't that
Right.
That run wasn't even that great because they were playing against goalies that were fumbling goalies in the playoffs and fortuitous refereeing.
The boys,
Yeah, they
Craig
got a
Gervais
couple
said
gifts.
this morning that if they had competent goaltending, they would have made a run. Martin Jones cost them, and I think that's right. That if the Sharks had better goaltending, they probably
And good thing
would
they have
beaten
lots
the
of
Blues.
money to go, oh, wait a second.
Yep.
Remember how hot he was, how a prospect he was? Martin Jones, everyone wanted to trade for him.
He's been really good until the playoffs. He was good all year, too.
I wanted them to, he wasn't though. I don't know because I wanted them to trade for Miller at the deadline because he could have made a cup run with them. I don't know.
All right,
I don't think Anaheim would be
So it was
was in the
7 o'clock.
market to trade Miller.
let's go home. Bill's jet lagged. Mike's hot. You guys are cool.
Thanks. Justin, you're already home.
I'm here.
Justin's sleepy.
Justin wants to go to bed. He's like, get the fuck out of my house.
Make sure Jeff gets his microphone back. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.